I'm Imogen Lloyd and I represent the Rodgers and Hammerstein organization. We're so excited you're with us today to celebrate 2 milestone anniversaries of one of the most impactful musicals of all time. Before you experience the magic of the 1998 production of Rodgers and Hammerstein's Oklahoma, the show that truly made Hugh Jackman a star 25 years ago, we wanted to give you a brief look into what made this title an enduring success from 1943 to now, 80 years later. On a beautiful morning in 1942, Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein II joined forces to create the most successful partnership in American theatrical history. Oklahoma, the first R&H musical, premiered on Broadway the following year, marking the start of what would become a 17-year association and the creation of a series of celebrated works that are still performed around the world today, including The Sound of Music, Cinderella, South Pacific, Carousel, and many more. When Oklahoma opened on Broadway in March of 1943, it was clear a new dream team was born. The show took audiences by storm and became an overnight success. This groundbreaking work redefined and revolutionized the American musical as we know it, and launched a golden age of musical theatre that has spanned decades. It even set a 13-year-long record for the longest show to run on Broadway until 1956, when My Fair Lady took the crown. And after Broadway, Oklahoma was given the Hollywood treatment with a 1955 Academy Award-winning film starring Gordon MacRae and Shirley Jones. Oklahoma has been reimagined for the stage and screen countless times in the 80 years since it first premiered. One of the most renowned revivals was in London 25 years ago at the prestigious National Theatre, starring a then unknown Hugh Jackman. There are so many elements of the 1998 incarnation that made it an extraordinary work of art. Legendary director Trevor Nunn's creative genius and commitment to capturing the essence of R&H's musical storytelling. A truly outstanding cast in Hugh Jackman, Maureen Lipman, Josephina Gabrielle, and Shuler Hensley. And the inventive choreography that Susan Stroman was able to devise. Boundary pushing or remaining true to Oklahoma's core and the original dances by the great Agnes de Mille, it brilliantly enhanced the themes Trevor Nunn aimed to draw out of the story.
For everybody who watches Oklahoma, they have that feeling of, oh, I could do this, I could survive. And the show exudes that. Because of the research, it really informed a whole new Oklahoma. I wanted it to be about prairie women with mud on their skirts and mud on their boots, which is the kind of feel that Trevor wanted in the production. He wanted it to be grittier, darker, more real than was done before. The choreography was always about fighting for territory, fighting for what you want. So that informed the steps to be fight-oriented. I knew immediately that Hugh Jackman was going to be a star. He didn't even need a spotlight. He just was filled with light.
The character of Judd is compelling partly because of how often we see different interpretations of him from production to production. Shuler Hensley, who won Olivier and Tony Awards for this performance, brought something especially unique to the role.
The element of good versus evil, if you want to call Judd evil, I think he's a lot closer to people than they'd like to think. He's a few decisions away from being a good guy. I think we're still interested in loving Oklahoma, telling the story, singing its songs because they're so ingrained in everyone's history. This musical connects all of us together. It's a common thread between generations. And I think Rodgers and Hammerstein knew that. Their storylines are timeless. And it's a quintessential American story.
This production of Oklahoma was not only a big break for leading man Hugh Jackman, but also to his now frequent collaborator Warren Carlyle, who went from ensemble member to associate choreographer of the show, and later a successful career as a Tony Award winner.
People, of course, are still singing these songs because they're still relevant. These characters are still flesh and blood characters, and these songs, these are classics. They're classics, you know? And from 80 years ago, we're still singing them, and we loved singing them. Oklahoma completely changed my life. It was a magnificent turning point for me. I met the amazing Susan Stroman, and I got to work with Trevor Nunn. Those two people alone That's life-changing for someone like me. You know, I remember the creative process very clearly. We did 2 weeks of improv with Trevor, tending the land as the farmers or taking care of a horse as a cowboy. You know, we were two really separate groups. No one was allowed to sing for the first 2 weeks. Oklahoma was the moment that I met Hugh, who has since become and remains a dear friend. From the moment he walked in the room, he was special. But watching him tackle the role of Curly was just extraordinary. We were watching history. I hope that people who see the film this summer, I hope they fall in love with it the way that I did. And it's a perfect time capsule of that particular time 25 years ago.
Thank you for joining us today to honour the landmark anniversaries of this cultural pillar that captured an era and continues to resonate today. Get ready to re-immerse yourself in the music, dance and ingenuity of this trailblazing story. Enjoy the show.